A very good morning. Myself, Assistant Professor Alicia Duskano, take this opportunity to welcome our honored IC Principal, Dr. Subhash D'Souza Sir, and our helping hand and BAF Coordinator, Assistant Professor Shraddha Lopez Ma'am. It is a great pleasure to welcome our today's guest and resource person, Chartered Accountant Mrs. Lisa Korea, and all my dear students. Before we start, let us have a small prayer. Lord Jesus, make us an instrument of your healing love and peace. Give us wisdom and courage through this webinar to bring your healing love and saving truth to those in need of healing and restoration. Especially, shower your blessings on today's speaker that they may enlighten us with their knowledge and wisdom. Amen. As we are going through this pandemic situation of COVID-19, let us take these challenges as an opportunity. Subhash, sir, please mute your mic.
Yeah, sure. Sorry.
Okay. So, challenges as an opportunity and get ourselves literate about GST and audit. Self-Finance Department of St. Joseph College of Arts and Commerce, Satpala, under BAF Department, organizes a webinar on Walk Talk through the concept of GST and audit. We have amongst us an extraordinary personality and an eminent speaker, Chartered Accountant Mrs. Lisa Korea. She is currently practicing as a Chartered Accountant. She qualified CA in 2016. She stood first in her batch of HSC from St. Joseph College, Nandakhal. We welcome you, ma'am. Now, I request our IC Principal, Dr. Subhash D'Souza Sir, to address the webinar.
Hello, good morning to one and all.
Good morning.
At the outset, I really congratulate BAP department and especially the head of BAP department, Professor Shraddha Madam, along with Alicia Madam and all those who are there in BAF department. I congratulate. At the outset, I welcome Lisa Korea Madam, who is a chartered accountant, one of the eminent speaker who is present amongst us to deliver talk on the topic of GST, one of the very hot topic nowadays. So Lisa Madam, on behalf of management of St. Joseph College, that is Nandip Mandal, on behalf of staff, I welcome you for the lecture, today's lecture. Oh, Lisa Madam, I think you were my student also.
Yes, sir.
I'm just so happy that my student has become chartered accountant and now she is delivering lecture to my students. Oh, one of the great things for me. So really heartiest congratulations to you and
you,
welcome for the lecture.
Thank you, sir.
I'm really proud of Shraddha Madam, Alicia Madam and all this team. They are doing excellent job. Lisa Madam, really they are really hard worker and I'm really proud of them. So once again, congratulate to Shraddha Madam and our students are there. I really welcome and congratulate all the students. This seminar on the GST will be of great help to them. So once again, you all are eager to listen to Lisa Korea Madam. So on behalf of college and staff, I welcome, I thank God and thank you all. All the best. Wish you happy morning. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your kind words.
Yeah.
So without any further ado, I request our speaker to take the charge. Over to Lisa ma'am.
Yes, thank you. I'm presenting my screen, huh? Just see if you can see.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can see it.
You can see, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's begin then.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So now what is GST? I've given the topic. It is not like good night, sweet dreams and take care. Of course not. It is goods and services tax. Now it is an indirect tax, or you can say consumption based, which is used in India on all the supply of goods and services. It is comprehensive, multi-stage and destination based. Now earlier what used to happen is there were many taxes, indirect taxes like service tax, VAT, octroi, excise, etc. And the compliance burden was very heavy on the part of small businesses. They used to file so many returns every now and then, like monthly, quarterly. So the cost was increasing and it was very difficult to manage all this taxes. So our government, BJP government, came up with an idea that it should be a one nation, one tax, and to avoid such burden, they came up with the concept of GST. But it was said that it should be a one nation, one tax. It was implemented from 1st July 2017 onwards. Now, I just remember we were sitting in a hotel and near us, there was some dispute going on against the bill. Now, the consumer was fighting with the owner of the hotel that it is one nation, one tax, and why I'm levied CGST as well as SGST. I can see two taxes. So they were like, I will pay only CGST or SGST. Why both the taxes? As it is one nation, one tax. So it's not like that. CGST and SGST are part of GST only. CGST is levied and paid to central government, and SGST is paid to the concerned state. So if you see, any percentage which is paid is half paid to government, central government and state government. Now what is CGST, SGST and IGST? CGST is paid to state, CGST is paid to central, SGST is paid to state, and IGST is integrated tax. It is paid to the concerned state as well as the government. Now, is it that all the goods and services are liable to GST? It is not, because it will have again a compliance burden and the poor will suffer. So there are slabs. Basically, there are 5 slabs which are taxed under GST. So like very basic needs which are required in our day-to-day life, like rice, vegetables, are not taxed. They are exempt from GST. They are taxed at 0%. Then little more basic, not luxury, but little more than basic, like frozen vegetables, or you can say bread, they are taxed at 5% rate. More like comfort items, like bikes, AC, are taxed at 12% rate. Luxury items, like pizza bread, butter and all, are taxed at 18%. And very luxurious goods, like private yacht, aircraft, or any kind of very highly and expensive stuff, are taxed at 28% rate. Now, if you see all these rates, it is half for CGST and half for SGST. And the same rate applies for IGST as well. Now, when is CGST, SGST and IGST is charged? See, if I'm staying in Maharashtra and providing services in Maharashtra, then CGST and SGST is paid. But if I'm staying in Maharashtra and providing services in other than Maharashtra, that is any other state other than Maharashtra, then IGST is paid. So you can check on the various bills whether CGST, SGST is levied or IGST is levied. So from that you can see that whether the supply is from same state or from another state. Now GST is not levied on alcohol, petrol and petroleum products. Now this is kept under VAT and other taxes for the state to have control over it. Now what used to happen is, earlier each state used to charge rates as per their convenience and as per their expenses. Now since GST is a flat rate, each state is liable for flat rate, whereas alcohol and petroleum products are charged as per the state rates. So as per their cost, their transportation charges, the charges are levied as per VAT and not GST. So at present, they are out of GST purview. Now, who should register for GST? Is it that every person providing goods or services should register only specific category? Like the person standing near a building and giving services, like the watchman. He protects the building from day night. So does he provide service? Yes. But does he require to pay GST? Do we require to pay? No, because he is exempt from GST. So what are the categories under which GST person should register under GST? So the basic category is if the turnover exceeds 40 lakhs for goods providers and 20 lakhs for service providers. Of course, there is a lesser limit for northeastern states. Then registration is compulsory. Then you have to fill the form and register yourself and pay taxes monthly or quarterly as per your scheme. Then casual taxable persons and non-resident taxable persons providing services in India are compulsory liable for registration. Even if the turnover doesn't cross this limit, they should compulsory register. Then agents of input service distributors. Now, what is input service distributor? See, you are a business. You have many branches. The branches are providing services. But input service distributor receives only one invoice against all the branches. So then what the input service distributor will do is, he will take the ITC and distribute it to branches. So each branch will be given its share and accordingly the branches will file their GST return. So what is exactly the input service distributor is? He is the main person providing ITC to his branches. So that is called the input service distributor. He distributes its input to its branches. Then those paying taxes under reverse charge mechanism. What is reverse charge? Reverse charge is, I am buying goods from a non-resident person. Now, non-resident persons or non-registered persons are not registered under GST. So they are not gonna pay GST in India. So whoever are registered and buying from them, they should pay taxes under reverse charge. So that is called reverse charge. That person who supplies via e-commerce operator. Now, we all know e-commerce operators like Flipkart, Amazon, Zomato, Swiggy. So whoever supplies via them are required to compulsory register under GST. And of course, all these e-commerce operators have to compulsory register even if their turnover doesn't crosses this limit. Then persons supplying online information and data access or retrieval services from places outside India, but they are providing services in India, so they have to compulsory register in India. If they can register, or their agents can register, or maybe the establishment which is located in India can register. I'm just showing you a registration form, how you have to register. So you can just type on Google like GST login, you will get it. Then there's a new registration icon, you can click on that. You will just be given this form. This is a short basic form. You just have to fill whether you're individual, company, proprietor, whatever. Then your state, district, business name, PAN card number, and email ID and phone number. Now make sure that you give proper email ID and phone number because all the correspondences and OTP will be sent on this data. So after filling all the proper information, you can just say proceed. Then you will be given a provisional GST number. So what you have to do is, with that provisional GST number, you go to your GST site again. Below you will see that for first time login. Just click on first time login. You will be given page, like tab will open and it will have a long form. You have to fill each and every detail like the name of the business, address, type of business. You have to select the rate. You have to add bank details and many such information. If you have any branches, all this information need to be added to that form, and there are a few attachments like basic details like PAN card, Aadhaar card, like name proof, address proof, electricity bill for your business address proof, cancel check. Such basic information is only required. It is not at all like tedious job. It is very easy. You can just collect this stuff and you can just upload the stuff, fill the form and submit the form. Within 3-4 days, your registration is done. Even nowadays, OTP based registration is done within 1 day. So it is very simple to register on GST portal. Now, once we are done with registration, now you have to file your return. So there are many types of return. So now, do we need to file all this? So no, we have to file only as per our business needs. So I'll just give a quick explanation written wise, which returns are required for whom. So let's start. Now we can see GSTR1. The GSTR1, it is a detail of all outward supplies of goods and services. Now what is outward supplies of goods and services? It is nothing but the sales. So what you have to do is just bill wise, you have to enter each and every data and bill in your GST portal. Now if you're using any software, you can just export it, like from Tally if you're using, you can just export and just JSON file you have to generate and just attach it. And if you're doing individual, you can even do GST returns without softwares. So you can just enter each bill like invoice value, CGST, SGST, IGST value, and that's it. You just have to enter it. All each bill detail in detail. Then this returns are to be filed monthly. If you're opting for quarterly scheme, then you can even file it quarterly. Then GSTR 2A. Again, it is details of your sales, but in this, it is details of your inward supplies that is filed by your purchaser. Like you purchase goods from someone, then the purchaser will file his GSTR1 because for him it is sale, so he will file GSTR1. So for you it is purchase, you will have auto-populated data under 2A, which will show his GSTR1 in yours. For that, you will have to match this data 2A with your ITC and purchases. So this is just an auto-populated return just for you to check whether your supplier has entered all his sales data accurately. So this you have to check every now and then, because if the supplier has missed any of his bill, then you can't claim ITC. So for that, you have to keep checking whether the supplier has entered all his bills, and if not, you have to rectify and inform him to make sure that all his bills are entered. So this is auto-populated, it can't be edited, you just have to check it. Next is GSTR 3B. Now it is just a summarized details of your sales. See, in GSTR 1, we enter sales bill wise. In GSTR 3B, we will enter only total figures of all sales, CGST and SGST or ITGST, whatever is applicable. Then we will enter the input tax credit. Now, what I'm saying input tax credit now and then. So, what is input tax credit? So, I'll explain with a small example. See, now if I'm buying goods worth rupees 100, set 5% GST rate, so I'm paying 5 rupees. Now, do some reprocessing with that goods and sell it to my customer for say 200 rupees. So, 5% rate comes to 10 rupees GST. So now, am I liable to pay 10 rupees? No. See, I've already paid 5 rupees. So the output liability is 10 rupees. Input, that is the ITC, which is already paid 5 rupees, will be deducted from 10 rupees. So net liability will be 5 rupees. So what we are reducing, that 5 rupees is called input tax credit. So what you will do is, we'll do 10 minus 5. This is, our tax liability was 10 rupees. We are reducing 5 rupees, that is input tax credit, and then the taxes paid, that is 5 rupees. So in GSTR 3B, you put everything total, like bills in total, ITC in total, tax liability, and of course taxes. Now, if there are any taxes payable, you can pay like online, RTGS, NEFT, internet banking, anything. You can pay and then you're done with your 3B. Now, what is GSTR 4? Now, it is also known as CMP 08. Now, what happens, GSTR 1 and 3B, which are used by normal taxpayers, they have to be filed every month. So it becomes burden for small persons who are voluntarily applying for registration. So for them, there is this GSTR 4 scheme, which they use and file their returns quarterly. Now, can all the taxpayers go for composition scheme? No. Only the ones whose turnover is less than 1.5 crores are required and can go for a composition scheme. In this, they have to file GSTR 4 quarterly. Now, GSTR 5. These are for non-resident foreign taxpayers who are non-resident as well as staying outside India but providing services in India. So they have to get themselves registered under GST portal and file their returns and pay taxes in India. Now, GSTR 6, Input Service Distributor. I've already explained to you earlier what is Input Service Distributor. They have to file the GSTR 6 return. GSTR 7. Now, what happens, if you are providing a service, selling goods worth 2.5 lakhs to a single customer, then you need to deduct TDS, 2%. So when you are deducting TDS, you have to give credit to your pie as well. So giving that credit, you have to file GSTR 7. So the persons who are deducting TDS at the rate 2%, they have to file GSTR 7. GSTR 8. These are for e-commerce operators who are required to collect TCS. Now, we already know who are e-commerce operators. So, if they are collecting TCS, they have to file compulsory GSTR 8. GSTR 9. This is the annual return. It is a summary of all your GSTR 1, 3, B, 4, 5 as per your as per your return applicable. So, this is the summary. You just have to check whether everything is as per return file. Check with your books of accounts as per your income tax return and accordingly file this GSTR 9. At present, it is optional if the turnover doesn't exceed 2 crores. You can file voluntarily if you want, or you can just keep it if your turnover is less than 2 crores. GSTR 9A. This is for composition scheme. It is a summary of GSTR 4 quarterly returns. This is now waived off at present and it is not required to file for 17, 18, 18, 19. Of course, you have to file for 19, 20. GSTR 9C. This is a reconciliation statement and it is to be filed if your turnover exceeds 2 crores. Now, what is reconciliation statement? This is like every data like your turnover, your CGST, HGST amount, your ITC claimed, etc. is matched with your income tax return and books of accounts. And if there is any discrepancy or difference, you have to give reason why there is difference. This is just a reconciliation statement and this is to be compulsory done by CA or any other qualified professional and it should be attached with DG. And if any extra taxes are payable, then it should be paid first and then only this 9C can be uploaded. Now is GSTR 10. This is for cancellation of your registration. Now what happens, if you have taken your registration voluntarily and now you no longer want to file your return, so you can cancel your registration on your own, that is suo moto, or maybe the officer can cancel your return. Like if you have not filed a return for continuous period of 2 periods, continuous 2 months or 2 quarters maybe, as the case may be, then the officer can cancel your registration. Or if you have registered for certain object and then the officer thinks that you are going out of that object, or maybe you're doing some fraud or misappropriations of funds, then the officer can cancel your registration. Of course, opportunity of being heard will be given. And again, if the proper officer is cancelled and you don't want your registration to be cancelled, then you can give reasons and you can revoke and ask for renewal of your registration. But once you have filed your GSTR 10, your registration is cancelled, then no need to file any of the returns. But before submitting this GSTR 10, you have to make sure that all your taxes, dues, interest, penalties, everything is paid off. Otherwise, you can't file this GSTR 10. So only after all your payments are paid, only then you can file your return. Next is GSTR 11. It is filed by foreign diplomatic missions and embassies who have unique identity number. So now what happens, this foreign people who are staying out of India and they have, of course, unique identity number as per the country. So they provide here services and pay taxes. And now they want to claim refund. Like ITC, they have already paid and now they're not selling maybe. So they want to claim refund, then they can file their GSTR 11 and claim refund. Now, is it so that if you don't file a return, you can just go away with it? No, there are late fees. So what are the late fees? See, for normal taxpayers, if you are filing a return, say after due dates, then you have to pay 25 rupees under CGST and 25 rupees under SGST. That is total rupees 50 rupees. And again, after you are liable for IGST as well, then 50 rupees you have to pay. Earlier used to be 100, now it is reduced to because it is creating very heavy penalties on the taxpayers. So to make a little less burden for them, the penalties are reduced, but these are just temporary. It can be increased later on. But for now for example, see, now return filing GSTR 3B due date was 20th of say Jan. Now I'm filing my return on 23rd of Jan. So there's a delay of 3 days. So I have to pay 50 rupees into 3 days. That is 150 rupees penalty. But maximum penalty can't exceed 5,000. Even if your per day calculation comes to 6,000, 10,000 or anything, maximum you're liable only to pay 5,000. You can't pay more than that, or you don't have to pay. And for nil return, see, if there are no transactions at all for like any month, like during Corona, there was no transactions. So for reducing that burden, the government has reduced late fees for such people. It is 10 under CGST and 10 under SGST. That is 20 rupees total penalty per day. And again, under IGST, 20 rupees per day. Now this was for normal returns like GSTR 1, 3B, etc. Now for GSTR 9, it is an annual return. For it is penalty of 100 rupees per day under CGST and 100 rupees per day under HGST. That is total 200 rupees and again total 200 rupees under IGST as well per day. Again, in this case also maximum penalty can't exceed 0.25% of your turnover. Now again, there is interest if you are not paying your taxes and filing return within due date. So if your taxes are paid after due date, then you will have to pay interest either at 18% per annum. And if you're claiming excess ITC or you're reducing your output tax by any other means, then your penalty interest will be increased to 24% per annum. Now let's see how practically these GSTR returns are done. Just have extract of GSTR 1. See, if you just log in via your login password and user ID, then you will be taken to a home page. You just have to click file return. Then you will be given the year and the month you have to select. Automatically now the return for which month is not filed will be highlighted first. So suppose I have filed till Jan month, when I log in, automatically 2021 and Feb month will be selected. I just have to go ahead and select which return I want to file. So now if after clicking GSTR 1, this boxes, such kind of screen will appear in front of you. So now if you see, there are around 19 such boxes. You don't require to fill all this. Only as per your business you are required to fill. So this is just an extract. I have only 6 boxes over here. I can't screenshot all these 19 boxes. So I've just given you a small idea of how the GSTR1 looks like. So this is GSTR1. See, there are many things you can see. You just have to do is just click on this first. Now this is for B2B business. So what are B2B? See, if I am a registered taxpayer and I'm providing or giving goods or services or selling to another business who is also registered under GST. I'm registered, my client is also registered, then we are like B2B. It is called B2B transactions. And if the seller whom I'm selling to is not registered, then he will come under B2C, that is consumer, unregistered persons. So if you're selling anything to registered persons, you have to go in this box, click it, and enter bill wise details. You have to enter your invoice number, your total taxable value, your CGST, HGST. Now if you see over here, see, I have 2 bills entered of rupees 3,883. This person is liable for 12% tax. So 6% for CGST, 6% for HGST. It comes to 466. So we have to enter bill wise, like a value of the cell, CGST, HGST, and each column you just have to mention the amount, and like this keep on entering how whichever bills are applicable for the current period. Now here you can see I have only 2 bills, so I've entered 2 bills. Then you can just check if there are debit notes, credit notes. You can enter over here. If there are large invoices, you can enter over here. And just this is actually self-explanatory. You can just read and understand what you have to enter where. So after entering everything, now below there is one more B2C, like business to unregistered customer. Over there you can enter to sales made to non-registered persons under GST. That you can enter total figure, no need to enter bill wise. So just enter all the figures. After you're done with, there is at the end, you can just click on generate summary. Now after doing generate summary, you can submit it and you have to wait for 2 minutes. Because this portal takes time to do any work we are commanding it to do. So every time you do anything, you have to wait for 2-3 minutes, then wait. After submitting and waiting for 2 minutes, it will be like GSTR summary 1 is generated. Then you can just go down. There will be option file return. Click on that and via OTP you can file this return. It is very easy to file. Yeah.
Just want to ask that you are showing on the hello.
Hi, yes.
Right now you are showing on the PPT or Weblink you are showing?
PPT.
Achha, but we are not, it is not visible, madam. Only PPT is visible.
Can you see the screen extract of GSTR1?
You can see.
Sorry? Hello?
The screen we can see, madam.
Can you see extract of GSTR1?
Yes, ma'am.
This only, you are unable to see this earlier?
We can see this, but are you showing this on this tab?
No, this is part of my PPT. Okay. I have just taken extract of GSTR1.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
We can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, you can continue.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So, this is the extract of GSTR1. You see, I have not taken full because there are 19 columns. And I can't just log in and show you because again the client name will be visible. So I am just showing you the extract. After that, you have to file a GSTR 3B. Now GSTR 1 is to be filed monthly. You can select quarterly if you're for availing composition scheme. Now this is GSTR 3B. You have to file it always monthly. It is compulsory to file. But now there is a new scheme after 1st Jan that if you are opting for the scheme, you can file your GSTR 3B quarterly, but you have to pay your taxes monthly. So what happens in this case is there is no need to file 3B monthly, but you have to pay taxes monthly. So in that case, you have to calculate monthly. So I don't think there is any relevance in this filing 3B quarterly, but still it is convenient to file 3B quarterly. I don't know. Now this is the extract of 3B. So if you see, there are four this columns. You have to fill each column. Now here you have to fill in total. No need to enter bill wise. So if you just click on this, on first this box, you will have like few columns to mention, like your taxable value, that is your sales, then CGST, HGST or IGST. Then you can see one more UTGST. Now what is UTGST? See, UTGST is levied for union territory. If you have normal states, then CGST, HGST is levied. And if you are union territory like Daman, Diu, Delhi, then UTGST is levied. Rates, everything is same, just the name is changed to specify that you are providing services or goods to union territory. So then here you have to just mention a taxes amount, CGST, HGST. After mentioning it, you just have to click on this eligible ITC. When you go inside, you just have to enter ITC which you are claiming on all bills. You have to enter total amount and not bill wise. You can export it if you're using any software. You just have to generate JSON file. Then you have to pay any interest or late fee leviable. See, if you're filing your return late, then interest and late fee will be charged. In this you can see 150 rupees you can see under CGST, HGST. That means there is a delay of 6 days, so they are levied penalty under GST. After entering all this data, what you have to do is go to payment of taxes. Go in this box, and it is actually auto populated. You can see your ITC available, and as per your 3.1, you can see the taxes to be payable. So it will automatically minus and show you the balance part. Of course, you can edit it if you want to claim any like ITC of CGST or HGST. You can edit it and accordingly claim, and you can make sure that you claim it properly, because you can edit it. Doesn't mean you can edit anything. Make sure you are editing properly so that there is no return, no penalties or like notices coming. So now if you see over here, see my tax liability is 34,000 and ITC is 40. So actually my ITC is more than my payment. So there is no tax to be paid by this taxpayer. See, so balance tax liability is 0. Only as paid is through cash, this 300. These are this penalty 150. So the thing is, penalty you have to pay afterwards. It can't be adjusted against ITC. You have to pay it. And the other, this part is paid through credit. That is ITC. Okay. So I hope that this small extract of GSTR 3B you have understood properly. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
Thank you so much, Lisa ma'am. You have cleared the concepts of GST very well. Now, students, if anybody is having any queries or questions regarding GST, what Lisa ma'am has already explained you, You may ask her.
Or do you want to give me an idea of how income tax audit is carried on in real life, like, or should I answer questions?
If anybody is having any questions, please ask her. Students.
See, there is an old saying that if you don't have any question, you have understood fully or you understood nothing.
Nothing.
I don't know where you are. Should I give you idea of how income tax audit is carried out?
Yes, ma'am, you can give a short explanation of how it works, income tax
Okay.
audit.
So see, basically now you have to prepare books of accounts. Now, what are books of accounts? It is like cash books, sell books, purchases, sales, everything you have to bill wise you have to enter. Now there are softwares for the same like Tally. You can use it. I'm not advertising for Tally. Just convenience. I'm telling you. After maintaining all the books of accounts, you have to do is print all these books of accounts, and you have to vouch. Now, how vouching is carried out? So you have to ask your client for all sales bills, purchase bills, all expenses, incomes, receipt, everything you have to make sure is properly maintained. Then you have to check bill wise whether all the things which are in hard copy like bills are properly entered in your software or not. So this is basically vouching part. So you have to just check whether bill wise it is correct or not. If not, you can rectify it. Then after checking this all, you have to check whether all the returns like GST, TDS, or any other return which are filed monthly or quarterly are properly done or not. Like ITC is claimed properly or not. You have to check everything bill wise. And as per your convenience, if the data is very high, then you can just select few months and you can just say that you're sample checking. Sample checking is like you're selecting few samples from full data. That is full population. You're selecting only few months or few days, or as per your data size. Then after checking all this data and after vouching, what you have to do is prepare audit report. The audit report is prepared with each clause you have to enter. Now the clauses are like some are already carried forward from last year's data, like basic informations are carried forward. You don't have to fill it again. After filling the audit report, you have to do is upload it in the income tax site. You just have to log in, upload it, sign it by a CA or some qualified person. After that, you have to again log in and approve that audit from via client side, because without approval this audit report is invalid. So you have to approve it, and this everything should be done within due date. Otherwise there is penalty, heavy penalties, 1,50,000 penalties there if audit report is not filed before due date. Then after audit report is uploaded, you can file your return. Now if the assessee is individual or proprietorship, then only single return will go. If it is a company or partnership, then director's return as well as company's return and partner's return as well as partnership return will go. Accordingly, there are ITRs like ITR 1, 2, 3 as per applicability, you have to file it. And after all returns are filed within due date, we can say that your audit is completed. I've just given you a summary of how it is done. We can have in detail anytime later. So, Shraddha madam,
Okay.
I hope I have done my part and you are.
Yes, ma'am, you have done it very well. Thank you so much. You have cleared many concepts of GST. Okay. So
Okay.
now I request a student from FY Miss Simran Idrisi, to propose vote of thanks. Simran, are you there?
Yes, Miss.
Yes, Simran.
I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks for this webinar on Walk Talk through the concept of GST and auditing. I, Miss Simran Idrisi, on behalf of Self Finance Department, wish to express my profuse thanks to our resource person, CA Lisa Korea Madam. Thank you, ma'am, for enlightening us with your expertise and knowledge. You are an inspiration to us, and we have a lot to learn from you. I also thanks our management member for their support and guidance. A very special thanks to our motivator, in charge principal Dr. Subhash D'Souza sir. I thanks BEF coordinator, Assistant Professor Shraddha Lopez ma'am, organizer of this webinar, Assistant Professor Alicia Tuscano ma'am, and all the other staff for making this webinar a success. I also express my deep gratitude to all my colleagues for participating in this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Simran. Once again, thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Lisa
you so
ma'am.
much for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Uh,
sir.
yeah, I think sir is not there now.
Okay.
Okay.
Ma'am, we will
Students,
convey this, your message, your
yeah,
regards to.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
thank you.
Yeah, thank
Students, you will get the link, attendance link on your concerned group. Okay, so you can leave now, students, and have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa, madam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
miss. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, miss.